What it do, what it don't, what it will, what it won't. It is another episode of the Ball Hog Sports Talk. I know we have taken what we call the spring break. I know that we were on a little bit of vacay. We come back with a little bit of sun and tan and rested and ready and rejuvenated to provide to you the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We do it one way and one way only. That's rough, rugged, and raw. Welcome back for all of you who missed us. Just know that we missed you too. It is
Some of y'all.
Some of y'all. Most of y'all. We can go most. We can go most. More than not.
Most of y'all.
This episode is going by the title Warning Shot. You do not want to miss this episode. Pull up a nice comfortable chair, pour yourself a nice tall mug of coffee, spike it with whatever you want, because the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, which is where sports, business, and entertainment collide, is coming to you. We're going to do it one way and one way only, rough, rugged, and raw. We had 3 weeks of rest. I hope you guys are excited because we are. Ball Hawk Sports Talk is coming to you. So with no further ado, boys and girls, cats and dogs, frogs and amphibians, anything and everything in between, this is going to be an amazing show. The Warning Shots episode is coming to you. So let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. Once again, it's on. Once again, it is on. I get the distinguished pleasure of being in front of this microphone and to be able to sit across from the man, the myth, the legend, thou shall be intergalactically known as, and respected as. When you say it, say his name with some reverence, with some bass in your voice. Say it with some passion. He is the Big Flo Show, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Flo?
What's up, man? I missed y'all, man. It's been a couple crazy weeks, a lot of travel, a lot of stuff. Life has happened. You know,
Well,
I think it's
life
been
be lifing, as the young folks say.
The life be lifing.
The life be lifing.
I had daughter stuff, son stuff. Now we're chilling for a couple weeks.
It helps with our credibility, though. I happen to know the inside scoop on some of the stuff that you are dealing with. And as a dad, that is, I'm gonna give you your flowers, brother. You've done a phenomenal job raising student athletes, and you can get into personally how much of that you want to or not. But
I will. You know what? Here's one thing I'll be proud of.
You
know, we always raise these chilling, and we have dreams. You know, and my son, a dream he always had was to play college football. Mm-hmm. And one of his dreams that we've had for him was for him to graduate from a nice university free of charge. So I'd say
free at last.
Free at last. Thank God Almighty, that shit was free at last.
Amen, brother.
So I'm proud to say that my son graduated from Northwestern University.
I wish I had a clue bomb to drop. Like, come on, man. That's saying something.
3 years.
Northwestern University. Come on, brother. That's like one of the best institutions in the world.
Now, he graduated college in 3 years, right?
Another clue bomb. 3 years.
Is it something?
It took you
8
years.
Something that another dude named Reggie Florima did. Well, this ain't about me.
Okay, about me. I stand corrected.
This ain't about me, boy. I was the first Notre Dame football player to ever do that. But anyway,
respectfully, more credibility for those of you who are
not everybody doing it, right? But you know, like how Jordan started certain things. I'm first one Notre Dame football history ever graduated 3 years. You Google that. You can
Google that. Play with it.
They wrote the article.
Put respect on my name. Go ahead.
I should never. My son decided me too. He's like, he threw the Blake domino down. Me too. So he did what I did, and I appreciate him for that.
Respect, bro.
But there's a part of me because now my son is in the transfer portal. He's no longer a Northwestern University football player. He's moving on, and I'll expose where he's moving on to in a second. But is it weird that I feel some type of way that we gave up the 86,000 that they were supposed to spend? Like that, I let them off cheap. Like, I feel,
y'all still owe me that 86,000.
do you thought they should give me 40 grand to walk away with?
We are going to get into what portal is in today's 2025 ecosystem, and we ain't far from that. Like, yeah, you still owe me back pay on the 86.
That's like, you know what I'm saying? We signed a 4-year agreement. I feel like that 1 year extra. I don't know if it stipulates. You know what? I bet I can make a lawsuit. There's no stipulation in there saying that whichever comes first. It's a 4-year scholarship. So that 1 year, we should bank that.
Hey man, I know
I might be on to something.
You're willing to take the case, just call me. You know what I mean?
I might be on to something. Every early enrollee except one graduated early. Everyone's gonna graduate early. Every early enrollee except one, there's 4 of them have transferred. So
well, that's where and let me know when you personally. I want to interject right here because this connects us with the show. But I'll.
So let me just finish. So I think that the way that if I, people are always asking me about, my opinion on certain things in college, and one thing I say is, college is a dirty. College athletics is a dirty game, right? And I'm going to say this. It's going to sound bitter, but it's not. But honestly, the majority of the college coaches ain't shit, really. And I'm saying it like as honestly as I can.
And that's a defined term. Ain't shit.
It ain't shit. Like these coaches. Honestly, someone told me this, and I wish I could give him the flowers. If you're listening, put it in the comments. They said college athletics is the best conditional love you'll ever receive in your life. But that love comes with conditions. When they love you, they love you. But when those conditions aren't met, they really do not care if you live or die. And this is across the board. Every college in America, your favorite coach, your worst coach. I will say this. I have nothing bad to say about David Braun, who's the head coach of Northwestern. He's been great to my son. I have nothing but good things to say about Pat Fitzgerald because to this day, I still talk to him. He still responds.
For those who don't know, Pat Fitzgerald was the head coach prior to the current coach.
Yeah.
And got a raw deal, if you ask me. But
got a raw deal, and Northwestern will pay for that. But he's actually one guy who I can say actually cares, and he's showing it because he has no reason ever to return my calls or messages. And if I text him right now, he will call me back. Right? He's got a lot more things to do than deal with me, and he'll call me back. So this is a great human being, in my opinion. You can't talk bad about him. But in general, these coaches will ghost you, do whatever. The reason why I'm saying this isn't to dog this. The thing is to tell you that the only person you should be thinking about when you are in college athletics is yourself. The only person. Team, I hate to say it, but team comes second. It has to come second because you know what? Coaches come before team. They're before team every time. Every decision that they make is to benefit them personally, and the team is second. And we can debate this. This could be a whole show. But I'm not saying it to be to dog or to be negative, even though it sounds
I don't think I'm not hearing.
I'm just saying it because people have all these false emotions that people throw out there.
Yep.
Where they feel specific. I don't want to throw this guy's business in the street. I really wish I could text his dad and ask him. But there's a certain individual I know who was a high named athlete. I don't want to narrow it down too much. Who wasn't really getting paid a lot of money to go to the school what he was worth. And I was talking to his father once at a party, and I'm like, your son should get in the portal tomorrow. I don't want to do that. And the only reason not to do it is because of how things would appear and do whatever.
Right.
And I say to hell with appearances. It's only important. The only thing that's important is your athlete.
Is your child.
And I'm going to keep harping on that because there's going to come times where people are going to feel like, oh, I did this for you. You shouldn't have did this for me. Fuck them. There's going to be a lot of times where people are going to say different things about kind of like loyalty, whatever. That word does not exist. And if there's a dictionary for football, the word loyalty or college athletics, the word loyalty should be banned from doing it. There's no such thing. except for if you have nowhere else to go. Even Deion Sanders will go out there, and I'm gonna give you a second. Even Deion Sanders will go in there and start talking that garbage about loyalty and team and this, and it's not about the NILs. It's all lies. Stop it. It's all lies. Don't fall for it. For self, you need to be for self all the time. Anyway, that's my soapbox.
I only interject because the second component of your discussion, which first of all, bravo. I think we could not have dreamed of a better opening after a 3-week hiatus and layoff and our spring break. We could not have dreamed of a better opening than that. I want to put your opening in two buckets. The second bucket, we were talking about like loyalty and the coaches and NIL. We're going to get to that. And the new frontier of operating like your own company, your LLC, and making sure that the bottom line of the company, the profits, the earnings, is front and center when you're deciding strategically and what to do. That's the second bucket of your opening. Mm-hmm. The first bucket of your opening, I think, connects beautifully with our title because unplanned, unrehearsed, unprovoked, but very authentically, what you just did was give all of the parents out there, whether you are currently in the status as a parent to an athlete in college, whether you're an aspiring college athlete parent, meaning your child is in high school maybe, or even younger, you have a young student athlete in this new day and age of NIL, transfer portal, and things moving very quickly. We could not have asked for a better warning shot than what Big Flo just gave you. That, my friend, was a masterful case of explaining why you just put a disclaimer on the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You basically just gave an inside glimpse into what is to come. And I would dare say that if your child is 6th grade or younger, you can multiply that the ramifications. You can multiply the ripple effect of what Big Flo just described by a zillion, because things are changing by the second. Mm-hmm. So I know we didn't plan that. We just sort of went off the cuff with it. But I think I want to congratulate you on being able to make that statement that your son graduated in 3 years from Northwestern University and now moving on to another school to continue his pursuit. But that's no easy feat.
Out there, he's going off to Slippery Rock University in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. Google it because I didn't know where it was either.
Shout out to him.
It's different. And, when we start to make decisions, we had opportunities at Rice. Western Michigan looked good for a little while. We looked at a school called Duquesne. Thanks to everybody who's tried to help my son. There's been a lot of people in the village that have tried to help him, and they've reached out to him, through this process because it was kind of a goofy process. When he graduated, didn't line up, so he couldn't make spring ball, which kind of made you unattractive to some people. You learned a lot of stuff along the way. But it
don't tell them too much because you got to write the book. The book still has to be written, brother.
The book is still written. A lot of chapters haven't been created yet, so
the game is to be sold, not told. You want to write the book.
But he ended up being just the best fit, man. It's, just some humbling portions of the decision, just come from where you're coming from, but where you're going, but where he wants to ultimately end up. I think this is the best option for him.
I agree.
The staff there seems to be really interested in how he can help their team win. And again, you notice I got to phrase it the right way. The staff is really interested in how he can help the team win. I'm not going to get confused and say it's him or it's anything else other than this is how you can help me. And it's all about that. You got to keep it. So I will go back and I say this to everybody I talk to on the phone, and I make sure I never got the phone. And my phrase is first world problems, because a lot of you out there listening thinking, man, shut up, man. I got student loans right now for my kid to go to some school and doing whatever. Shut up. And I hear you, and I say, you can't make me. And so like that,
you can't make
a boo-boo. But it is a situation where I'm very appreciative. Both of my children have put themselves in situations where, their athletic ability and their academic achievements have helped, if not completely paid for their school. I'm thankful to God for that, and I'm thankful to their hard work for that. But
And it's
from
a big but. A big
but
but, a separate sentence, separate paragraph, because our audience who loves
Mhm.
sports business entertainment need to hear it.
Yeah, but those things, those first world problems are still problems. And people who, you lose perspective. We both played in college. You played in the NFL. I didn't. You play with people who made a lot more money than you and do whatever, and they all have real problems. And I think as society, and I'm gonna stay off this soapbox. I'm not gonna stay too long. As society, we tend to see people who have more or in situations that are better than what we perceive our situation to be, and think that there's no possible problems that come with that. So,
Right.
as
Which
much
is
as I would
crazy.
tell you this is a first world problem,
Right.
these
Still
have
a
been
problem.
3 or 4 of the most stressful months in my life. And stressful not because of what I personally going through, but because as a father, you want to help your kids so much. My son's last 3 months, and then I'm off of this. He had no car from a mistake that he made that he had to pay for. He had no driver's license. His girlfriend moved to Iceland to play soccer. He had an internship and a full class load, which was the hardest time ever. And he's separated from his team, so he doesn't know where he's going to be in the future. So for 3 months, this dude has been sitting here
No,
without his girlfriend,
this 22-year-old, right?
21 year
21,
old, 21 year old
21 year
without
old.
a
Sorry, I gave him
girlfriend,
extra days.
without
Extra.
without a without a way to get around. He about 2 grand into Ubers, not without a way to get around, taking super hard classes. He's got to go spend $15 to take an Uber just to go try
Yep.
to study with somebody and really evaluate whether or not that was worth his $30 round trip study partner to do whatever. He was not doing well in the class, 2 of the classes that he had to come back later at the end to save it to graduate. So all I'm saying is, as a dad watching your child go through that stuff, no matter what the end of the rainbow is, no matter how great things seem like they are, it's still stressful. So first world problems come with stress as well.
I will say this, man, and put a bow on this. Thank you, first of all, for opening up and sharing with our live audience, and then it this goes into our archives for the podcast, so it's there, the audible version. Um, so thank you for doing that. And then secondly, I think that people needed to hear it. I talked about it from a credibility standpoint. If we were offering a resume, a transcript, a CV, right? Just the fact that you have gone through that, the fact that you have, as a sports dad, taken your son through the entire process, gotten to a Division 1 Big Ten program, and been there and had some success, but also didn't necessarily the opportunity didn't necessarily meet all of your son's dreams, so he's moving on. So you've had the transfer portal, you've seen all of these things. I just think it builds our credibility significantly. But when it comes to this topic on this show and that opening, it could not have been a better warning shot. While you're immersed in whatever it is right now, and you have your kid's best interest at heart, and you believe in their dreams, you're going to do anything and everything to further those dreams. The warning shot is this: is that this whole thing of sport has become such a business that you have to operate in that way and understand that there's going to be ups and downs, highs and lows, but you got to navigate it in a way to survive the business component of it. So I appreciate that, man. I think it's a perfect segue to the opening topic that we have this week, because there was another story that helped frame the episode title today, Warning Shot. And I'll go ahead and just play it. I guess that's the only way to do it. It'd be the best way, and then we'll go from there. This particular warning shot is one that has the sports world abuzz this morning. It has been something over the last 2 years that has been talked about, but over the last week has been talked about ad nauseum, because it leaves a lot of us scratching our head. You talked about the, several $100,000s that you avoided in debt because your son was able to navigate the sports process and become a student athlete in college. You talked about some of my teammates, the NFL teammates that were able to forego the debt and the challenges financially that young professionals normally have in their early 20s because they had this windfall of cash bestowed upon them at an early age. Some of them maybe avoid needing to be in the workforce forever because they made that type of money. With that type of opportunity, it's confusing where we are with the story. We'll debate it after we show. This is This Morning from First Take. With no further ado, we'll play it.
All right, we're back on Get Up. We got the Grizzlies. We got the Heat last night. That's Ja Morant. Earlier in the day, he had been warned by the NBA about using that finger gun gesture. This is 4 minutes into the first quarter last night. And, Alan, there it is, as clear as can be.
Yeah, so the warning didn't work. What's next?
Well, we're going to ask Shams that question in a moment. Again, this was 4 minutes into the game. Meanwhile, let's show you the game because there was enormous drama in this. And as you would expect, Ja Morant was in the middle of all of it. Here he is with a dunk in the fourth quarter to untie the game and give the Grizzlies a 2-point lead. 20 seconds left. Down by 2. Miami Tyler Hero ties the game at 108. 5 seconds left. Of course, on the night where everyone was talking about something else, Ja Morant winds up making a buzzer beater that gets a friendly roll and goes for Memphis to get the win. And he's fired up, and his father is fired up, and everyone is excited as he makes the great move, scores 30 points on the night, and the Grizzlies, who've been struggling, wind up getting the win by a deuce. And so he comes up big in the clutch. But that isn't what anyone was talking about after the game last night or this morning. It's all conversation about the finger gun gesture that he made again. And let me add the context to this in case you were not aware. Ja Morant has a history with firearms that is well documented. March of 2023, it began with a video of him at a nightclub holding a gun. Commissioner Adam Silver ended up suspending him 8 games for the incident. 2 months later, he was seen again in a video brandishing a firearm. Adam Silver came down harder, suspending him for the first 25 games of the following season. Then we had the warning yesterday, and then immediately, again, 4 minutes into the action, he makes that finger gun gesture again. Morant was asked about it afterwards. I have the quote for you here about the reaction. This is about the criticism he has faced. He said, quote, "I'm kind of used to it. I was pretty much a villain for 2 years now. Every little thing, if somebody can say something negative about me, it's going to be out there. So, yeah, I don't care no more." Those were the quotes on this from Ja Morant last night. Let me start with my insider.
Let's stop there because I just, I read this episode. Warning shot was largely influenced by the warning that the NBA gave to Ja Morant this week. The fact that Ja Morant ignored it and continued with the gesture. The fact that the history of the last 2 years, his suspensions, him being, I was going to say caught on video, but no, it wasn't caught on video. It was a live video. Him offering to the general public a video of him brandishing a weapon. And then after all of that, to hear him say, "I've been a villain pretty much the last 2 years," seems mind-boggling. And I guess we could just start off with when you hear his response to the general public's response of all of us scratching our head. You can imagine that after hitting the game-winning shot, the first question when he availed himself to the media had to be, "Hey, Ja Morant, having just been warned by the NBA, why would you make the same gesture early in the first quarter?" Not about the game-winning shot. Not about Memphis positioning in the West and having an opportunity to really make a splash in these playoffs. But the first question was about, "Hey, Ja Morant, why did you make that gesture again?" Let's be quick on this because I want to get to all of our topics. But I do think that as a dad, as someone that has played in college ranks, and now I would say times 2, you're grandfathered into the college ranks because your son has done it, has interacted with several professional athletes, and now you're in the corporate space. You see this level of recklessness from a young man, and you think what?
Okay, when he first came back from suspension last year, I thought it was tone deaf for him to do that. And just like, come on, man, you had to be thinking about it, right? It has to be on your mind. Now we're back years later. He's not the guy. He's not the face of the NBA anymore. He's not, now that my man down in OKC is taking over for him there. He's not the hot guy. He's not whatever. He's paid that price. I say find him if you want to and get over it. I mean, we're making it seem like he pulled a gun out on the court. He made a symbol that, like, if you didn't say that it was a gun gesture, you may not even really know it was a gun gesture, right? He's just sitting here like, whatever. But I mean, I don't know. It's just a gesture. People do this stuff. They do the thing where they, tap their forearm, and they do the one where you're too little. Like, what makes a gesture? Obviously, it's been universally unaccepted to give the middle finger to somebody, right? That's too much, right? But other than that, like, what are we doing? If you look culturally in football, they're doing that one where they made the guys pulling out the arrow and shooting the quiver or whatever, shooting the arrows and emptying that out on people. That's okay. And then they made that illegal, and now it's okay again. I would argue there's some cultural bias in that. I wouldn't say that the gun gesture is just to Ja, it's to everybody else. So I think to add his history to it, I'm not going to say it's unfair, but I'm going to say that like why is it so bad when you're sitting there?
It seems like you think the NBA is indeed, maybe I wouldn't go as far to say villainizing him, but you think that they are going too far.
I mean, in this case, it's the media, right? Because they didn't even call a technical foul on him when he did it. So really, it's the media that's doing it. But I just think, okay, the media should be talking about the buzzer beater. They've chosen to talk about a symbol that was, again, if I was at the game, I mean, I'm a gun enthusiast. I don't shoot guns like that. So like, it wasn't so clear. I just think, man, you hit a shot, you get hyped, and you come and you do something real quick. I think too much is being made out of it. And then you think about it, he didn't do it again. So it's like he probably just slipped up and did it. Too much is being made. He's thinking about winning a basketball game when he's on the court. He's thinking about doing whatever. Just like if you see how guys come off of the court right after a win, and the way that they speak. When you're in that mode, would you agree that we have modes as human beings?
Absolutely.
You have your dad
mode. Adrenaline
mode.
is pumping.
You got
Endorphins.
your lawyer mode. Like if anyone would see how you react and how you behave on the sideline of a youth football game when you're in a courtroom, they probably would be like, "What?
Not hiring that guy to be my attorney."
Well, I don't know how many complaints you've had as far as when you do your attorney work. Probably none. Because you have different modes of people. When I'm on the football field as a coach, I am not the person that I am at work. I speak completely differently, and everything is a different mode. When I'm on this show, you get a different variation of myself than when you and I are pre-gaming, right? There's certain things I won't say. But when he's in the middle of a game, of a testosterone-laden game where you're shit talking, going back and forth, to filter your shit talking, you're going to slip up. Find them and just move on. That's the way I say. Find them a little bit, move on. To make so much of it, like if he does another gun video, I ain't got nothing to say about him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of thought. You put that on the internet, but you just made a shot and he just gestured. There's a million gestures that are acceptable. That one isn't. He did it one time. He probably thought again about it. All right, damn, I can't be doing that. He didn't do it anymore. It's no big deal.
I want to agree with you because I think that far too often we like to paint this picture that, these players have to be perfect. And when between those lines, you're right, the rules are different. But here's my challenge with just this particular incident. You said something and you referenced face of the NBA. And I guess for this particular episode, and this is very important for us to, and here's my warning shot to young people. We're going to be talking about some things today, and you're going to hear me come back a few times and try to circle the block. But this one is my warning shot to young people. There's this concept in finance, which is in math in general, called time value of money, which is like this fundamental financial concept, the core tenet to finance. Essentially, time value of money says that $1 today that I can get today is worth more than the same amount, the same dollar that I can get in the future, even tomorrow, right? Because of its potential to earn returns today. So give it to me today so I can invest it, which makes it worth the dollar that I have tomorrow, right? Because I lost out on the investment opportunity between what I can get today and in the future. Why is that important? You referenced the face of the league. This young brother literally was the face of the league. He had replaced Kyrie to be the marquee spokesperson for Nike. He was on a trajectory to not only on the court, but off the court, do things that were next level. And because of some of the, I think at that point, honest, but still silly mistakes, all that was squandered. Fast forward 2 years later, and this week happens. He gets the first warning, and initially the gun gesture was in response to Buddy Hield. So they both got warnings. I was okay with it that game. But the very next game, in the very first quarter, and then to after the game be so, now I would agree, tone deaf, to be like, hey man, I'm a villain. I don't care no more. Young brother, I know you don't care right now, but you're going to learn a very, very tough lesson, the time value of money. And you'll probably make more money than it's not going to make you homeless. I'm praying that it never puts you in a situation where you're desperate. But 20 years from now, when there's an opportunity to potentially buy a team, to potentially be in ownership of the magnitude where you've got to have billions, that's when you're going to realize the lesson of time value of money. Now, while the financial concept might not necessarily hit home with you right now, I do think the cultural part of knowing how many kids look up to John Morant and how many kids have to do something. You talked about me as a coach. Well, as a coach, I've got to abide by rules. Each of my players have to abide by rules. And it just seems as though he doesn't appreciate the magnitude of his position such that he's making people think, the ones that look up to him, the kids, that, man, hell with them rules. I don't care what the NBA talking about. And I just think it's reckless. So is it so earth-shattering that he needs to be suspended for another 20 games? Hell no. I agree with you there. But at some point, man, it's like I have a hard time defending the indefensible. Like, bro, grow up. Grow up. And
True that.
Dad needed to say it to you. And I don't think Dad should get all the blame. But as soon as he hits the game winner, right? Even that saying, that same thing talk about the buzzer beater and a friendly roll, and he's getting all of these lucky bounces, but to still be in that situation makes you lucky. Your dad needs to pull you to the side, put you in the headlock, like, yo, dad, yo, dog, grow up. There's certain things that I can't do when I walk into the courtroom. Not because, I love wearing hats. I can't wear a hat into the courtroom. I love wearing V-neck, little black V-neck. I like that look. It just reminds me of Silicon Valley. I say dress the part. Wear me just a black V-neck and some jeans. That's the Silicon Valley look on the way to becoming a billionaire. I can't wear that in the courtroom. I love to use certain phrases when we're just casually speaking.
You ever slept though? Honestly,
I've never slept.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question.
These motherfuckers. No, I've never said that. Right? Because I'm in the courtroom.
Let me ask you this. Okay. So I'm gonna be real talk. What's real talk Friday, right? Real talk Friday. I don't ever use the N-word in mixed company, right?
Right.
And so it's just kind of one of my tenets and my rules. But I've been on a call with some person in a professional setting where the conversation is getting about other stuff like sports, football, whatever, and some words almost slip out. I'm gonna bite my tongue trying to get that mug back in there because you start to get yourself in a mode.
You got comfortable. You think you're in the barbershop.
Too comfortable. And I'm like, "Ooh, that was a close one." Not that it would be the end of the world, but I'm like, I don't, people at my job don't know don't get to see Big Flo. They know Reggie Florida.
Right.
My government name. That's who they know. Every once in a while, they may get a little taste of flow. They don't ever get big flow, right? But you can put me in big flow mode if you put the right amount of sauce,
Yep. Jump
hot
the
sauce
cables
in
on there, baby. Let's
and then
go.
whatever. And I'm just saying, when you're in your bag in a basketball game, I would ask my son. I hate making things about my son that are not supposed to be. What were you thinking about when you made that catch? He'd be like, until I didn't know I did that. Until you showed me what you just showed me on the video. I didn't know I did that. I was running down the field. The ball came in there and I just jumped. I caught it. However, I caught it. Whatever you're showing me, I'm learning about it like
Right.
you are.
Natural instincts.
It's just an instinct. And I just think in this type of environment, when they're playing basketball and they're running their mouth and they're doing whatever, for him to come down after he hits a big shot and like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to overly judge him about that. Now, when he first came back from suspension, it should have been so much on his mind because of all the money he lost and everything was going on. But he's already accepted this role of a villain. He's already lost. I don't know if did he lose a Nike endorsement?
He didn't lose the Nike endorsement, but when it initially happened, I mean, he was on every billboard.
Yeah, he was doing everything. So that kind of stuff's there. And then he just hits a game winner to win a game. He's excited about it. Someone puts a microphone in his face and say, "What about that gesture?" I get it. He's human, man. Fuck that gesture, man. That was in the first quarter, man. Did you see that buzzer beater I just hit? My team just won. Fuck you and your question. I can see where that could come up and be like, I thought he handled it as tactfully as possible. Like, all right, cool, man. I'm used to being the villain. They're going to find every little thing to do, whatever. And he'd be mad. I'm used to it right now. That was about as good as he could get. What did you want him to I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that. He's a shot. Fuck you, Aston.
So some contrition, like, hey, you know what?
I don't have any. He's not thinking about that first quarter thing. You think he's thinking about the first quarter shot after a three? It's the end of the game. He just won. You think he's thinking about that?
Well, you just said, when he first came back because he lost all of his money, he had to make sure he was in a tight box.
Fresh.
For me, this week, with the conversation being revisited 2 days later in the first quarter, I mean, at some point, have some type of discipline where
he didn't do it
maybe
again.
that's the word.
He didn't do it again. It slipped. It was a little slip. It was a
I would have loved to hear that. At the end of the game, like somebody needs to really, if he doesn't have a PR person, right? Somebody needs to really put their arm around him. Like, yo, man, what you do, and you just described it, what you do behind closed doors, what you do within circles of your friends, what you do on the court when it's just pickup, what you do when you are at Lifetime or LA Fitness or whatever, and you're playing with other NBA players, what you do in closed circles and behind closed doors is your business. But when the lights is on, when the cameras come out in a marquee game, because the Heat had won 6 straight, Memphis had lost 4 straight, they had just hired a new coach who hadn't won a game, you know that all the attention is on you. This week, the NBA has now warned you about this exchange you had with Buddy Hield. You know the lights are on. Have some discipline.
I get it.
Have some discipline.
I think he's trying. The reason why I say he's trying is he only did it once. He scored 30 points. He had, however, due to knowledge, he had a lot more chances to do it. I'm sure he could have done it when he won the game at the end. He didn't, and he slipped, and he just won the game. And he didn't want to sit there and take a knee and be tired. And so I'm sorry, he's tired of it. He's tired of hearing the question. He was hoping that someone was going to say, "Great shot, it didn't work out." A great shot, at the end of the game, and you got a good roll, and what were you thinking? And they asked this dude about the first quarter. And I'm happy and proud that he didn't go off. And I'm not trying to be too big of a defender or fan. I'm just trying to give a chance to somebody to be human, man. At certain times you ask me the wrong question, man, you're going to get some sort of an answer. He didn't snap. He just said, I'm tired of whatever, man. You know what I mean? But he had to be thinking, I just hit this buzzer beater to win. And that's what you want to talk about the first quarter. You want to talk about some little thing that didn't hurt anybody, that didn't even get a technical foul in the first quarter. That's what we're doing. That's what y'all are watching.
I just warned, again, back to that concept, time value of money. There was a warning shot when you lost so many games, lost so much credibility with the fans, lost, right? Like,
you'll get better.
He had the seat that was the face of the NBA. He had the role as the heir apparent to Kyrie as being the man within the Nike family. And to lose all of that, right? This whole debate about the face of the league, this recent debate about, Ant-Man doesn't want to be the face of the league. We're going to get to Ant-Man. And, who is going to be the face of the league, right? You can't have that debate recently without providing a little context that Ja Morant had it and lost it. If that wasn't the ultimate warning shot for you as a young professional, because the sport is just the venue in which you get to be a professional, then I'm afraid he'll never get the message, bro. And I hope he gets it now, because time value of money says, all right, cool. Maybe I didn't make 100 million, but I made 50. The 50 million you did not make, 20 years from now, you're going to wish you had made that 50 million.
He going to be straight.
You're going to be straight.
If he comes out with another gun on the video, I'm not going to cut it for him.
There's levels of straight.
If he gives you a couple, there's 3 more times this year he shoots somebody on the court and he has to get fined, I got it. That's what happened. It's fine. People, they sit around.
Clarence had 2 real good parents. It just looks like
that's the funnier part. Is he grew up with
Cranbrook
with a marble set and and an airsoft, maybe a paintball gun, and now he's crazy.
And Clarence has 2 good parents. Look, man, I just wish my warning shot, and we'll add another warning shot, is if anybody listening who has this young brother's ear, is just that it ain't worth it. Man, be as tough as you want to be.
Hey, I got a thing for you. If you want to get cussed out, and your friend's Ja Morant, go to him and talk to him about this, about the first quarter symbol, and see if he don't cuss you out. And you're not coming to the barbecue. He doesn't want to hear that shit.
I like that comment. Thank you. And this just makes me remember to say, for all of those listening to the live audience, the live recording of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone you know. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. What up, dog? Linefield says these guys are making money that their great grandkids will be spending. They don't give a give a shit. And look, here's my warning shot. We talk about nepotism, right? We talk about all of the familial connections and the benefits of, like, the Dallas Cowboys having the last name Jones, or the Lakers having the last name Buss, right? At some point, if you want to have generational wealth and the power that comes with that, somebody has to pay attention to the warning shots and appreciate the time value of money, and appreciate that your role also comes with some sacrifices. If the only sacrifices I'm asking you to make is don't post a live video of you brandishing a real weapon.
And he hasn't done that this year. So
he has not done that this year. And
are you saying hand gestures are a gateway drug? Is what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is this: having done that, if now you fast forward, and the only sacrifice I'm asking you to make is to play by their maybe silly, maybe overburdensome, maybe unculturally aware rules. Man, play by the rules so you can create you some generational wealth and hold your you know what, because you got FU money. That's all I'm saying.
Do you, Ja Morant? Do you? Just stay off the internet with the guns. Stay off the illegal type stuff. Do you on the court though? Do you?
Good stuff. Great stuff. Let's move on though, man. We will agree to not agree when it comes to Ja Morant, but I do think that he has yet another warning shot. Let's see what he does with it. Just because we were gone for 3 weeks, we're gonna do Ball Hawk Spotlight moment a little differently. We're gonna just sprinkle it throughout the show. We talked about the face of the league and that debate, and the warning shot that Ja Morant has now, knowing that he is probably right now not the face of the league. The person who has been the face of the league, the person who has not brandished a single weapon in a video, a person that has been a model of taking care of his family and being the guy, finally got into a spat. And I know it's old news, but how dare we not make it new news? LeBron James, for the first time, did the unthinkable and confronted one of the notorious haters in Stephen A. Smith. Now, we do a lightning round version because it's still Ball Hall Spotlight moment. We understand that this topic has been run through the ground, it's over seasoned, and it's ready to be put to bed. but it has not gotten the Ball Hog Sports Talk touch because we've been on spring break. So, lightning round version. I know that's your man's in them. LeBron James. We got to put a bow on the topic. When you think LeBron James for Stephen A. Smith, did LeBron James give him the perfect warning shot and say, hey, man, certain topics, be careful. That's my child. Did Stephen A. give him the perfect warning shot? Say, man, if you'd have touched me, I'd have swung on you. More important, I'm going to be here for years beyond you, dog.
He had levity to the whole event by saying some stupid shit like that. So here's what I'll say. There's a certain guy who just came out with a new album. He's trying to reinvent himself. Maybe you've had a
Will
chance.
Smith?
Maybe you've had the opportunity to listen to Will Smith. I would say LeBron James did what he could do. He had a conversation with the man in a public forum, and in some ways embarrassed him. You could say some ways embarrassed himself. Depends on what side of the court you're on. But he did not say, keep my son's name out your mouth and slap him. He could have.
So even that was measured. It was tempered.
That's his measure. He did what he had to do. He checked him and did whatever. I just think that you and I can claim to be part of the media right now. We have 300,000 followers now.
At least.
But at least
if not,
we got a lot of people listen to us and do whatever. So we have a voice and we can and we do. But to sit here and I say that lightly, obviously tongue in cheek that we're part of the media, but we have a voice. We have an opportunity to sit here and talk. So I don't like when the media cries victim. Like you for a living criticize people, and I'm supposed to respect it at your job as if somehow like I gave you that job. It's not like I hired you to do it. So if you say something that somebody doesn't like and they say something to you that you don't like, touche. He didn't touch him. He didn't do anything crazy. You stand on a soapbox on your show and you get viewers because you dog the shit out of me and do whatever. You get on the show and you dog the hell out of his son. And to be honest with you, it's unfair. Now, has he played in a couple NBA games maybe that he shouldn't have the opportunity to do? I mean, you could say that, but his G League's had great games in the G League. There's a lot of guys who got drafted before Bronny James that are in the G League who are not doing what he did. There's a lot of people, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but his treatment has been a little bit better because he got to play. How many games has he been in? 3?
He's
4?
played more than 3, but not
True
severely
NBA
more
games?
than 3.
Yeah.
A handful of games.
Less than 10, right?
Definitely less than 10.
And game on the line type games where he's going in there and taking the last shot type stuff?
No, normally when they're either expected to get blown out and resting people or expecting to blow the team out.
How is that any different than any of these other G League guys that we consider to be, I hate to use the word bums, but quote unquote bums? It happens all the time, right? There's guys who get their little shot, call up 10-day NBA is the only place in any professional sport that got like a 10-day contract.
I think it's genius. But I think it's genius. We're going to get to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, for you to harp on the fact that he's getting this and to say that he didn't deserve what he's getting when he's on par with everybody who's been, I shouldn't say that's unfair. He's on par with so many people who were drafted when he was drafted. He's on par with them with having a nice G League game, having a bad G League game, to come in the NBA and not do much and not do whatever.
Rookie learning,
do whatever. I think proving honestly that he has the potential. If he was getting smashed in the G League, I mean, what can he do? It's not like he's going to score 100 points in the G League games, but it's not like he's out there averaging 2 points in the G League. You know what I mean? He comes out there and gives you 18 points. I think he had a 30-point game once. I mean, he's doing well enough. So for you to harp on him and talk about him like that, and just for LeBron to tell you, I don't like that, stop talking about him like that, do whatever. What's the big deal?
I know you're going to be shocked, but I disagree. And here's the reason I disagree. You asked what was the difference between Bronny James being a 55 pick and name 54 people before him who were drafted before him and look at their performance. We're not talking about them, even the number 1 and number 2 pick or previous number 55 second-round picks. We never talked about them. The difference is that it was brought to our attention. The topic was discussed. This particular player got our interest because one of the greatest, and in some people's mind, the greatest of all time, brought our attention to this particular player. I think LeBron James opened up the door when he started saying stuff like he's better than a lot of the players that are playing now. LeBron James, made his son front and center when he did anything and everything like he should have as a dad, including deciding where he was going to end his career, including making it very clear through the same media that you mad at that his goal was to play with his son before he retired. You made your son front and center, and I think that's where Stephen A was coming from. I don't think he said it the right way, but having said that, I don't think LeBron should have confronted him during a timeout of a game. Now, what I think LeBron James has done beautifully.
Were they winning?
I don't know if they were. What I think LeBron James has done beautifully.
Did he shoot him?
What I think LeBron James has done beautifully to connect us to the previous story is LeBron James is a quote unquote billionaire or inches away from being a billionaire in year 22, 30 seconds away from retirement. His legacy is cemented before he did what is probably to date the most controversial thing that he has done in his career, which was just to confront a man about talking about his son and in his mind going over the line. He waited. He's taking advantage of time value of money. LeBron James is the example of having done everything right on and off the court, being the model of exemplary in terms of living the NBA face of the league lifestyle. Whether you believe there's another life or not, who cares? He understood that for me to cement my legacy financially, from a business standpoint, from a fan appreciation standpoint, I got to do it right. And he's had more pressure on him since he was 18 years old than any other athlete at that age. Right? I'm trying to think of any other athlete that's had that much pressure on him globally since 18. It's hard to find another athlete that young. So that's where I think he's different than a John Morant, because he's already taken advantage of the fact that I made my money. I built my wealth. I am in a lifetime contract with Nike. He's up to LeBron James shoe number 22. So I'll give him that. But when it comes to the tail of the tape, with what would probably be a very one-sided fight, I didn't like the warning shot that publicly amongst black brothers, man. And if I were to talk to LeBron James, like, man, every media personality since in 22 years has been all over you, bro. Don't go chat. Don't go do that to the brother. The brother is the face of Disney right now. He is the biggest person in his space. And I just hate that they couldn't have done it behind closed doors. While everything LeBron said was right in terms of having issue with how Stephen A presented it, what Stephen A was saying, like, you got my number, dog, call me. And they'll never be friends, and that's fine. And they should be at odds. Every superstar.
Is that fair though? You criticize me and mine in public, so now I got to criticize you on the phone and treat you like a man. You never called me on the phone and treated me like a man to say, I think your son,
that's
whatever.
not his job. His job is to take public platforms and have an opinion. That's his job. And
LeBron feels like his job is to publicly defend his family.
If you publicly defended your family, if he had foregone and bypassed the in-person confrontation and just gone on the Pat McAfee show, which I didn't love the Pat McAfee show. I'm like, man, you're taking shots at people, including Brian Windhorst. It just look, he's already done what he needed to do and amass more wealth than anybody has ever done. Right? Maybe short of Michael Jordan. Maybe. Because he's got a whole franchise, Air Jordan under Nike. But LeBron is in rare air, right? So it is what it is. I just think when it comes to this confrontation, I would like to see those two brothers talk one-on-one and not have the whole public going in on, the warning shot that Stephen A gave after the warning shot that LeBron gave. He'd have touched me. I'd have swung on him. I'm glad we got some comedy out of it, man. I'll give you last word on it quickly, and then we got to move on.
hey, LeBron did what he felt he had to do. It's really over now. And I think the good thing about us missing is neither one of us has to guess what's going to happen. It's over. Every once in a while, Stephen A probably got more out of that than probably helped Stephen A more than anything else, right? Because he played into his villain. He got to talk about it. He got to be, in the same breath as LeBron.
I forgot about that. It was on the same day that the man signed a $100 million contract, man. It just felt like some crabs in the barrel. Brothers can't never get along. We at the damn domino table playing spades and Negroes pulling out pocket knives. It just seemed real. We have just regressed. It felt real regressive. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh well, I bet you that $100 million still spent the same. He went to Sizzler that night, anyhow. Right? He still went to Sizzler.
I'll say this, man. Look, bro. Shout out to both of those brothers, LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith said it in his monologue, the first take. I'm gonna be here a long time after you, and I agree that he will. But what will also be here a long time after this little interaction is the legacy of LeBron James. Salute to both of you brothers. There's another potential face of the NBA. We went from Ja Morant, who just fumbled the bag and squandered his moment to be the face of the NBA. I'll just say that. We went from LeBron James, who absolutely established himself as the face of the NBA before this nonsense. So this is just inconsequential to his overall legacy. And now let's go back to another young stunner? What they say, the stepper, young stepper. I think it was the young folks say. This young stepper, Ant-Man, who was indeed on the path to be the face of the NBA, but is at a minimum a little rough around the edges. Ant-Man got front and center headline news this week because he decided to try to pay up front when it comes to child support. He tried to get the young lady who he was in a relationship with or sexual relationship with. I don't know how much more meaningful the relationship was, who got pregnant. And yes, it takes two to tango. She did get pregnant. It has been reported. So I'm going to say allegedly a few times, reported a few times because I don't exactly know the details. But widely reported that he tried to give her, the number has been thrown out, $1 million.
You say try. I think he did give it to her, right?
Say again?
He did give it to her, right? Or you say he
for the abortion? I'm saying it's been.
Sorry.
Right, and so she did not get the abortion. Is going to go full term with the baby, and Ant-Man is trying to pay up front what it would cost him, right, to have 18 years worth of child support. And he has been very public. He doesn't want to be in the child's life. All right, now with these young people, I talked about Ja Morant, time value of money. Right, I talked about LeBron James, time value of money. He got his money before he did anything crazy. He's good. That's invested. That thing's in the bank. That brother got money. And now time value of money when it comes to Ant-Man and this child support crazy, which is bonkers. But he's trying to pay the money up front now, stating that the money available today, time value of money, is worth more than that same amount in the future due to its potential to earn returns or invest over time. Do you think the baby mama, in this case, I want to call her baby mama, do you think the child's mother, because when I say baby mama, it already degrades it. Do you think this child's mother will be wise to accept that money from the concept of time value of money? And what does this say? Is this the warning shot for other, because it's been alleged, she also has a child with a rapper and entertainer. It's been alleged that she was very interested in procreating with someone with that type of vast resource. Is this been a warning shot for other women? Like, they say,
for women,
for the baby. Is this a warning shot that it's some men
women or men?
Say again.
A warning shot to women for what? That's a come up.
Well, not a come up, because some people. Let's assume that it wasn't just financial. Maybe she really was thinking that the child would allow them to be in a meaningful long-term relationship, but to pay up front. And not be willing to even engage in the conversation. Right? Women who take
can't start a speech with a bullshit ass statement like that and think I'm not going to interrupt you. Maybe she thought what?
We don't know her.
Stop it.
You can assume we don't know her. We don't know her.
She got that good. Okay. That's all we know. That's all we need to know. She got that good, and she's out there. Stop it. When you're that age, you get pregnant. It's 100% your fault as a woman.
She is 40. Give him background. She's 40. And Ant-Man's what, 23?
She got that good. That's okay. And she figured out how to cash in on it. You think a 40-year-old woman doesn't know how to not get pregnant? You are
would
responsible.
assume that if she's
What
only got
do
one
they
child,
say in boxing? What
she's
is
got
the
some
number one
experience
rule
not
in
getting
boxing?
pregnant. Yeah, she knows how to not get pregnant.
What is the rule of boxing?
The rule of boxing?
The number one rule the ref tells you.
I don't know.
Protect yourself at all times.
Protect yourself.
A 40-year-old woman has learned about the birds and bees for a long
like that.
time.
Protect yourself at all times.
At all times. She should have an IUD.
That itself is a warning shot.
She
Protect
should have an
yourself at all
IUD.
times.
She should have on a chastity belt or something. You're 40-year-old and you got pregnant. I can only come to the conclusion that you did it on purpose. Either that, or I have to say you are a fucking idiot, and idiots shouldn't make money for them.
They're both idiots though, because Ant-Man with
she
the
had
risk.
That good man. They was messing around. There
is no night worth whatever it's going to cost up front.
It isn't, but she's professional. She's 40. She took advantage of the man. If you just go back a few years, it would be rape. She's 40 years old. Ant-Man's about 20. How old is Ant-Man?
23. I think Ant-Man's
23 years old, 17-year difference. If it was a man and a woman, we'd be saying manipulation and all that kind of shit. So here's the thing. I feel like Ant-Man should have given me the money, and I would have made sure she got those payments, and I still could have made a little something for me. That's the only thing negative I had to say to him on the situation. He can afford to shoot the club up, as my son calls it, which I think is so terrible. Shoot the club up and still be okay. I think the biggest debate is, about being part of the kid. Let me say this. Nothing is more important to me than my children. I have my children the old-fashioned way. I got a wife. We planned it, did whatever. I know I'm a little boring. You know what I'm saying? The old-fashioned way. But I think, there's going to be some criticism about him being in the world, in the woman's life. And I believe in a woman's right to choose, but I believe in a man's right to choose too. And even though I would never make this choice, I think the choice is yours. The law says everything is the man's fault on earth, right? Women cannot be blamed for anything on earth. So at the end of the day,
I don't think that's verbatim, but I get
that's what it says, page 67 in the what's your law book called? I mean, it just sometimes I look at it and say, all right, they got pregnant and he has no choices and no rights. She suddenly has all these rights, right? And so if she wanted to abort the baby and he wanted to have the baby, he couldn't have any influence on making her carry the baby because it's her body. But she chose to have the baby. He doesn't want to have the baby. He's paying her this money and saying, good, don't ever call me again. I don't want to hear from either of y'all again. I personally couldn't do it, but I also couldn't be a sperm donor, right?
And there's people that put their kids up for adoption every day.
All the time.
And we celebrate.
I couldn't let my wife be a surrogate. I couldn't be a sperm donor. I couldn't do any of that kind of stuff. And other people do it. I couldn't be a swinger. Other people do it. People do what they want to do. I can't vilify this man for getting in a situation where she intentionally got pregnant. And I don't care what anybody says. She intentionally got pregnant. Otherwise, that or she's an idiot. 40 years old. You got pregnant from this young man. And you came up. And he gave her the money, and he's out. So he did what he had to do. Unfortunately, he's got that kind of money where he could just – I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately, he's got the kind of money where he could just write the check and be done with her and never deal with her again. Would you really want to deal with her? I mean, what's going on.
I think that the ultimate warning shot, that's what I'm saying. Let's accept your description of this particular 40-year-old lady, pregnant lady, and praying for the baby and the mother – to be healthy, all this stuff. Let's take your description as fact that indeed she was on the come up. I think the ultimate warning shot too is for other women who have looked at this and want to take a similar opportunity, because it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to stay with the man. He's going to keep.
I don't care. Stop, Bobby.
You don't think that
she don't give a fuck.
Even in your description though, if she wanted to come up, what's a bigger come up? Just getting pregnant and having the baby, or having a relationship with said person for a real relationship? It's a bigger come up.
You're 40 years old and he's 23 years old. You thought this dude was going to wife you?
It's mama. Jalen Green and Drea are dating. That's the same sort of age difference. What I'm saying is this.
Are we doing this? Just let
What
me know
I'm
if we're
saying
doing.
is
Send me a
this. I'm
private chat.
agreeing
Let
with
me
your
know if we're doing
description. You won't even let me agree with the description. I'm agreeing with your description. And I'm
that's not. You keep saying warning shot to women. Why? This is a deterrent. Warning shot to men, but not the women.
I
She's
think
so
so,
happy right
man.
now. Yeah, how
Because
happy
there
she
are
is.
women who might look at that as, look, if I did get pregnant, it'd give me and we are speculating here, a much better chance of being in a relationship with, whether it be Ant-Man or fill in the blank with any other guy. Right. And what this is saying is that there is another option that Ant-Man is choosing that it's sort of like adoption. But he is giving up his parental rights to be in that child's life, which a lot of people that give their child up for adoption do the same, and we don't take issue with it. But I think by doing so, man, and here's the warning shot for other players that are looking at that as a script, because he admitted that he tried to give her money for an abortion. You're alienating from a social view standpoint almost, I don't know what the percentage of America
100,000
is
for
pro-life,
abortion, and she
right?
said, "I'm good on that." I don't think
Then he's
abortion
saying that
costs
he
anything.
doesn't want to. He doesn't want any part of the child's life. You know how many people that can't get pregnant? You know how many families and men and women who are like yearn? They going through all type of you know, productive science trying to have a baby, and here you have one, and you've alienated all the dudes that a lot of times because of child support or because of the rights that you described that the court seems to favor women can't just get visitation because they can't pay, who would love to be in their kids' life. So there's a lot of people that are looking at this in an unfavorable way. And here's my warning shot. Like, don't think this is now the go-to for NBA players. Because I think that honestly, Ant Edwards, this is the exclamation point that he would never be the face of this league. I mean, while we're laughing at this, there are a lot of issues with this as well, man. And so that's the warning shot. And then the other warning shot is the whatever number. Let's put it at, we don't know what the number is. We don't know what the monthly payments times 18 plus interest. We don't know what the number is. But let's just go throw out a smooth 5 million. If that 5 million, and I've heard it's less than that. Let's call it 2 million.
1.8.
1.8. If that $2 million, while paid up front, going out to her, was put into something, the safest investment known to mankind, you know what that would be in 18 years from now with compounding interest? It's just a warning shot that if we're going to keep trying to say, you know, racism prevents us from having certain opportunities, the new administration pouring straight haterade on DEI, us being accused of being a DEI hire because we've got to go up a corporate ladder of a predominantly white man-owned corporation. If you want the freedoms of doing everything on your own, investing with the big timers, the big leaguers, creating generational wealth where we're owning the team and doing the things that owners do, we got to stop living lifestyles and having behaviors that are just, and I don't want to say just throwing $2 million away, but because that's a child, that's child support. But damn it, there are a lot better ways to spend $2 million when you don't even want the interaction with her. And so that's my warning shot to these young athletes, is because you never get that money back. And I agree with you. There's so many things that are more principled than being in a child's life. You never, like, just because you don't want to be in her life doesn't mean you don't want to be in a child's life. But I also agree that people do it all the time in terms of putting their kids up for adoption. And he was very forthright with not wanting to have the child. There's just a lot of layers, a lot of issues with the story. I'll give you last word before we move on.
I'm gonna make sure, because when people play these clips back, I want to make sure it's them. I would never in a million years not be in a child's life, no matter what the circumstances are of bringing the child in there. But I also wouldn't be a sperm donor, which people think is like a heroic thing, I guess, to do. I would never have a child and then give it up for adoption. I would never do that. There's a lot of things I wouldn't do that are not looked frowned upon. People encourage that all the time. Oh, just have the baby put up for adoption. Some people want to have kids. And thank God there are people not like me, because there's a lot of women out there that need sperm donors. And there's a lot of families out there that need to adopt kids, can't have kids on. So thank God people aren't like me. I couldn't do it. But I'm also, and this has come through the years, I'm less vilifying people that say, listen, I did not want to have this child. I have no say in that. I can't tell you to do it. And if I wanted to have the child, I had no say in that. So you've no say. Once post nut, there's nothing, you have nothing, no more, you're out of the decision. You were just a pawn at that point. So I look at it and I say, unfortunately, there's women out there that exist like that are that know that they are desirable and they can con men into doing different things. And she got a couple kids out of it. So now she's doing well. So hopefully she can find.
We don't know her first child was under the same terms. That might have been a real relation. We don't know. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
Come on. If it happened the first, then she's really stupid. She's slow. Because if the first time, you know what I'm saying? Fool me once, fool me twice. You have a baby by now. That's where I had to slap Ant-Man saying, she's like that, right? And so I just think at the end of the day, you got to figure out what you want to do. But if he can afford it, if Ja can afford his fines, I'm done. I'm done crucifying these dudes. This guy's out there paying so much child support to so many kids. As long as you pay your money, you do what the law says and whatever. I can't really sit there and say too much. Who you deal with, everybody in there's no victims here except for the child, and
amen to that.
But even if he was in the kid's life, I'm going to assume that this woman is going to be a headache, and you're better off being gone from day one. Give her a chance to go find. Now she got a little bread. Maybe she can go find love now. She's got a little money. She can go find love and get somebody to be a father figure. One thing I would do is I would raise another man's child if I was in love with the mother that had a kid. I could still raise another man's child, so I don't have that problem. So maybe she'll go find somebody who can raise a child that doesn't have those kind of means, and she could go into a relationship for love.
The other, and you said it was somewhere in there in terms of the only victim here is the child. And I think it's going to be even more so as the years pass, because you could probably guarantee that there's going to be some attention paid to the child because the mother is notorious, and there's going to be some attention that has been put on the fact that Ant-Man does not have any relationship with that child, a la Karl Malone. All right. And we see it normally 18 years from now, not on day minus 9 months. But at the same time, 0 minus 9 months is when we're talking about it. But we see the ramifications and the impact on the kid. You talked about, the transfer portal, what it does emotionally to a 21-year-old. Like, you could imagine that if your life from its inception, literally from its inception, is under the microscope and talked about like a financial transaction or a law school freaking torch case on child support and, parenting responsibility, that's essentially a case study of your life. You can see how that can negatively impact a human being. So pray for the child and all that involved, but there are a bunch of warning shots in this story. I hope we all take heed. Lightning round now, man. Let's move fast. We're going to go to March Madness. I ask you simple and plain, bro. We'll start with the men. First time since 2008. Ironically, last time the Final Four was in San Antonio. First time since 2008 that all 4 of the Final Four teams are number 1 seeds. Think about that with the transfer portal, NIL. Think about that, how all the mid-majors are susceptible to getting their entire roster rated. HBCUs, Ivy Leagues, anybody that produces a big-time stat provider, anybody that's stuff in the stats in the lower tiers of schools, you're essentially, like, you're waving a flag. Yo, come raid my team, raid my roster, and make the cupboard bare, because the best players are going to the next best opportunity. And we started the show about that. Is this the warning shot that March Madness, because I know that the ratings are likely to be down. Why? Because we all love the comeback story. We all love the underdog story. We all the Cinderellas made March Madness a lot of time, right?
Often.
The FAUs of the world, the FDUs of the world. These teams that how the hell did they end up there?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we at with March Madness, seeing that this has come down to all 4 1 seeds being in San Antonio, and it was pretty obvious from early in the tournament that none of the lower seeds had a chance.
I said let's not jump to conclusions after 1 year. There's a lot of change and moving parts in sports with the NIL and we're keeping talent in school longer than we did before. People are not trying to go to the NBA one and done and are down, from, Cooper Flag will be gone or whatever. But like some of these other guys are going to sit there and stay in school. Some of these other people that were, maybe primed to go overseas are going to try to get a 5th and 6th year. It's lucrative to stay in college now. So we're going to get more of that. I'd say the NCAA tournament is starting to turn into like Peach Jam, where the college coaches are out there shopping. I think it's a crime that the transfer portal opens up during the middle of the tournament, and you got people getting in the portal and their team is still in it, but they're ready to go get paid and do whatever. They need to fix that. I could say maybe this weekend the Final Four and just say, all right, I'm not going to feel sorry for the last 4 teams, but I think that's a little too early. But I don't think that you're going to see the number 1 seed every single year is going to be there. I think you're more apt to start seeing some of these top seeds doing it. Now the thing is, it's every time somebody good. It's interesting when you see people now that you recognize from another team, because it's not like football where there's any anonymity. You're seeing a guy's whole face. There's a guy that plays for Arkansas that was a FAU for forever. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know this guy. I remember him I ain't seen him the whole time, but I remember from the tournament.
And Florida's best players.
They got all these guys that are coming out. So I think it's in some ways it's a beautiful thing because the coaches are doing it. Where did John Morant go to school?
Not Murray State. Where did John Morant? Or did he go to Murray State? He might have went to Murray State.
I think that's the one that has the little Indian kid that's the manager who comes out the boombox and made all that bread.
Yeah. That's more of an NIL thing. He made bread as an NIL guy.
He made bread in 24 hours. So mad when his team lost. You know he was called into his locker room. I lost me all this bread. But his coach is going to NC State and bringing him with and bringing players with. I think it's fine. Everyone's moving on up. So the problem is when you're a lower stage team, you got to try to find a way to like catch the lightning in the bottle and get something else. You know what I mean? Like, who's your next succession plan? Because if you have a nice run in the playoffs, there's never going to be a low seed that becomes a dynasty. Right? You're not really going to turn a program around. That's dead. And I think that's the biggest travesty here. So, the Butlers of the world, their coach, boom, I'm up and out. Right? Unless you can do some fundraising and get some money and say, hey, listen, everybody stay. We're going to find some way to pay you, which is hard to do because you don't have the money. Everybody's going to be gone. So you're going to get your 1 year of fame. Better sell all the T-shirts. Have your T-shirts printed. Have everything printed, ready to go.
The Naismith College Player of the Year on the men's side will be announced on Saturday before the championship game. It's either, who do you think is going to win it? How about that? You've got Janai Broome from Auburn and Cooper Flagg being the presumptive 2 favorites. Cooper Flagg being probably more of a favorite than Janai Broome. Then you got Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida, who's a transfer, and Braden Smith from Purdue, who, quite frankly, probably doesn't have a shot. But those are your 4 finalists. Who do you have winning it?
Who's the guy that has the real bad hair?
That's Janai Broome from Auburn.
Him or Cooper Flagg?
Yeah, those are 2 favorites. I think Cooper Flagg is too much there to not take advantage of the opportunity to give Cooper Flagg that award. And look, to be frank, Cooper Flagg has done a phenomenal job this season. So they're not giving him the award. He definitely earned it. I'll be okay.
When is it awarded?
It's awarded on Saturday. Sunday. Sunday. It's the 6th.
Here's my problem. I don't like this in all sports. Either give it during the regular season, as soon as the regular season is over, or give it after the championship. But don't act like the playoffs don't matter and then give it like partially through it. So, you're going to have the two teams on Saturday play, and then Monday they come back. So you're going to find out who wins those, and whoever has the better game is going to influence the vote. The vote probably is turned in today, actually. They probably just aren't doing the award show. I just don't like that. Do it right when the season ends, or do it at the end of the championship, but do not try to act like it's a regular season award and then the playoffs are taken into account, because there's teams that lose that have good players early, but they were great. But either one of those guys gets it. I think they're talented. I think just so you don't have to put his hair in the picture, you give it to Cooper Flag, because the other guys, that's bad.
I like how he wears his hair, man. I don't
No,
care
you
about this
don't.
proceeding. I'm proud of him. But I think you
He's
also
got
in there.
He's got 3 or 4 cornrows. They don't even touch in any way, shape, or form. They're this far apart. He looked like Stevie Wonder.
They're not Republican, they're not Democrats. They're independents.
They turn their back on each other.
I will say this, because you had in your response a very nuanced fact that was in there. And you talked about the transfer portal and the timing of it.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back to that same concept of time value of money, right? The youngest Pippen transferred from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Before playing in the Sweet 16. There's got to be some consideration of, like, we got to make sense of this. There are coaches that should be focused on game plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think John Calipari talked about it. I should be focused on game plan, but I can't, because I'm worried about re-recruiting my own team to make sure they're not going to hop in the transfer portal. I can't, because as soon as guys get in the transfer portal, they'll be gone before I even communicate with them if I don't reach out and communicate with them. And I know that there's going to be a certain attrition rate on my own roster, because that's just what this is nowadays. So I've got to replace some of these spots. And the spots I got to replace aren't necessarily into the bench spots. There could be a guy that's the second highest scorer that's going to be susceptible to be recruited to somewhere else, because they're going to be dangling a huge NIL contract for that particular player. So there's got to be some sort of rebalancing. It's got to make sense. Yeah.
The contracts eventually, now they're starting to get paid real money. The contracts have to be enforceable in some ways. The unrestricted free agent nature of the contracts can't continue, because you got guys, hey, I'm going to give them $500,000 from here to December, and then if he hits the portal, then he's out. So they got to make these big payments the day after the portal closes, because people aren't bound. If they're going to pay you $500,000 to be somewhere, or $100,000 to be somewhere, we used to be bound for nothing, right? If they're going to pay you some money, they should be able to bind you to the school.
Fair. That is the perfect, I think, segue to the March Madness on the women's side.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Shout out to Juju Watkins, who won the Naismith Player of the Year on the women's side. She tore ACL, which, like, it's heartbreaking, because she was having such a phenomenal year, and she is, I think, a media darling who does well with the NIL opportunities that have been provided to her. She has showed that she's earned them and done well by those opportunities. So shout out to her. I want to make sure I at least acknowledge that she won the Naismith Player of the Year for the women's side. But on the women's side, you've got Flau'jae Johnson, the rapper extraordinaire that played for LSU, just said she's going to come back for another year. She was projected to be, I think, top 10 pick in the WNBA. You've got Olivia Miles, who's projected to be the number 2 pick, who said that she's going to forego the WNBA draft. And not only that, but she's going to enter into the transfer portal. There's a Notre Dame man that upsets me, but respect to her. I'm assuming that she'll get paid very well, because I think she has a do not contact tag on her NIL portal submission. So that means she probably knows where she's going.
It means I'll call you if I want your offer.
I'll call you. You don't call me. It more makes us have the conversation. WNBA contracts about $78,000 as a rookie, where it's been reported that Flau'jae could make close to $1 million. $1.5 million to stay in college. I ain't no mathematician or nothing like that. But because of this concept, time value of money, if I can stay in college and get a check with the concept of time value of money and be able to take that check, invest in assets, invest in opportunities, invest in myself.
Guaranteed money.
Guaranteed money, right? Because contractually, the NIL opportunities are a lot more protected than what could be an injury in the WNBA, what could be, some variation of not making the team. A lot of people that get drafted to the WNBA don't make the team.
Mm-hmm.
Is the NIL ecosystem on the college side, especially for women's basketball, which is one of the revenue generators at the top programs of their athletic programs in the athletic department, is that going to create a logjam of talent that decides to stay longer? Because the WNBA already had that rule that you had to be 22 years old. So
yeah, they're not gonna have anybody challenging that rule.
They're not challenging that rule.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's 1 less year of talented basketball that the WNBA has from an Olivia Miles, from a Flau'jae Johnson. Like, does the WNBA really need to immediately revisit its ability to pay these players something handsomely enough to attract them away from a potential NIL?
I mean,
Paige Beckers is going to get drafted. The number one pick, probably. She was making she's making real money. Where are we at with the WNBA as a viable option as professional ranks versus NIL? I
said, let them enjoy their first profitable year ever, right? Before they can start doing something. But hopefully this interest that's coming from the college athletics and the female game will spill over to the WNBA. I think that the longer that they stay, the longer they build fan bases in their concentrated areas. You have the Paige Beckers, you have the Jujus and all those people. The longer they can spend in college to build that brand and on and off the court, the better it's going to be for the WNBA, where you can actually name some people. Because I think right now they were kind of anonymously leaving college, anonymously going to the WNBA. People to know. So this is the best thing.
That's why we call it the Caitlin Clark effect, because she came in.
Clark's super popular, but her popularity is it's trickling down, and now there's more and more people that we're seeing and we're caring about. So the give a shit factor of women's basketball is at the highest level it's ever been, and the longer we can keep these sweethearts, not to be condescending to them, but like these darling people in college, building that. Juju come back again, battle again. What's the girl that went from LSU to TCU?
Van
Lith. She killed it in the tournament. Come back, play longer.
Van Lith. That's a coach's name. What's that girl's name?
Van Leith or Van something. Who cares? End of the day, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And she got paid a few times.
Yeah, but keep them in school. This is her third school, so now she has Louisville fans, LSU fans, and TCU fans. Keep her there long as you can. Now those
is Van Lith, Haley Van Lith. I had it right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go here in a minute.
Yeah, man, we're gonna shut it down with this, bro. Because I wanted to make sure we close out with this. That was the NIL situation and how it affects the next rank, professional rank. I wanted to make sure you at least touched on the Lakers, because you are a Lakers man and you think Lakers in 5. Last night, I think, was a sort of a warning shot of what could be. Luka's shooting woes were
82 games. Look at one.
Say again?
One bad game. First time in 2 seasons he didn't hit a 3. Bad game. Glad he got out of the system and not in the playoffs.
If he has another bad game, because we know what he doesn't do defensively. They didn't get Williams from the Hornets, so they don't have a rim protector. Can they win this year? Because we don't have a lot of years left with LeBron. Was last night seeing Luka struggle, and we know what he does defensively, what he does not do. Was that a warning shot that the Lakers in trouble in terms of using this trade?
Trouble is an outrageous statement. I think they've done great this season, better than they did. This is the first time they're not staring at a playing game. It's real tight in the West. I think it's going to be hard to beat Denver in a series. It's going to be hard to beat OKC in a series. I think it's a matchup situation. They can just kind of hope that some people beat each other up. But can they win one? I'm not sure. I think it'll be hard, but I'm going to say Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6. I know you.
On that note, love you guys. Take care. It's so great to be back, man. See you next week.
Good to be back. Appreciate you, bro. We'll go home with this. 2 topics. One was Asante Samuel's first Coach Prime, which not Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. He talked about the T-step, which is, for those who have ever played defensive back, it's a way to break on the ball versus bicycle step, which is a different way. Coach Prime went public basically saying that he didn't believe in the T-step, and it led to this debate that Asante Samuels himself started, but that has been well documented, about whether or not Coach Prime's stats should come into play when you're having the conversation about best corners of all time. I think Asante Samuels is being completely disregarded. When people hear the conversation, they just laugh him off. Now, he's from Fort Lauderdale, so I admit that it's some home cooking, some bias, and from Lauderhill, my neighborhood. So I'm a big Asante Samuels fan, Big Deuce Deuce, as he called himself. But he's got a point. When having conversations about the greatest of all time, when having a conversation about how you rank people, shouldn't stats matter? I think that that's a warning shot that he gave us, is that we get so enamored by the mystique of particular sports figures. And some would say, as a Michael Jordan fan, I'm guilty of it as well, that we disregard the stats. It was a warning shot. But Asante Samuels should be in the Hall of Fame. Get it right. Whoever has a vote, I love the fact that we had the debate between Asante Samuels and Coach Prime and everyone else who chimed in, all the other cornerbacks, Darrell Revis, Richard Sherman, chimed in about the T-step versus bicycle step. I hope at a minimum what we get out of this is Asante Samuels should be in the Hall of Fame. His numbers are off the charts. He changed games. He helped win. He helped win Super Bowls, and so he should be in the Hall of Fame. And the last thing I'll go home with this is Coach Prime and his extension. I think the warning shot there, making sure they had him secured and extended the contract. But I think it was a warning shot to all of those coaches out there. Make sure that you understand your value. And if you look at the bottom line, you look at what Colorado, right, has done in terms of being able to sell merchandise and being able to create value in Colorado football. Coach Prime, even with that extension, is working at a discount. So have an impact beyond just X's and O's. All right. This has been, while I love the fact that Coach Prime got paid, this has been a labor of love. This has been our Ball Hog Sports Talk episode for the week. The episode is going by the title of Warning Shots. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Sorry for the 3-week hiatus, but sometimes you need a little bit of rest and recovery. We were anxious to get in today, and we delivered, and then some, so much so the show is a little bit longer. We appreciate you for tuning in. It has been an unbelievable Friday where we get together and record the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We do it one way and one way only, rough, rugged, and raw. For those of you who have commented today, thank you. Try to put all the comments up there. For those of you who did not, please feel comfortable next time going ahead and putting up a comment, because it helps us sort of navigate some of these conversations. For those who in my class had something to say, the sports finance class, I make sure to give you the credit. And we will be talking about a lot of this in our sports finance class, how the NIL ecosystem as a business is impacting sports like the WNBA, because people want to remain amateurs, or at least on the college ranks. If you don't want to call them amateurs anymore, on the college ranks longer because of those paydays. What is that going to do for the overall value of the respective professional organizations long term? And with that, it has been a phenomenal show. We ask you, like we ask you every week, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone you know, subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast, even after the show ends. When you do, you help us out. When you do, you help the person on the other end out, because we do believe we have good content. So help them out and make sure that they have access to it. With that, I'm your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy, a.k.a. Councilman Brown, a.k.a. Coach Bobby. And this has been our show. The Big Flow Show was in the building today. It was sports, it was business, it was entertainment. It was the Ball Hog Sports Talk. And with that, we is out. Peace. Have a good weekend, y'all.